Okay, a little bit about möbius coils. Let's just pretend that this wire right here represents 100 feet, which is the amount of wire that I'm using for the coil. I'm folding it over twice. And to give you an illustration how this works, it's just like this. Fold it over once, and then you'll have something like this. Okay. We're going to leave 6 inches free, and we're going to fold this over one more time. Something like that. Okay, if you can catch the drift on that. Now this end, these wires are wrapped around a hook, just like this. And this is hooked into it, just like that. Now on the other end, we're going to have a drill that's going to have this in the drill bit. Okay, so that when we tighten it up, here like this, and we turn it in a counterclockwise fashion, it's going to produce a twist, and that's going to be the cable. Okay, and here's pretty much what a cable looks like. Here's a decent möbius cable. Okay, you can see the 2 loop ends over here, and this is 4 wires, up and back and up and back. And this is basically roughly about as close as I can get to a 45-degree twist. Okay, see? Alright, the reason I came a little short of 45 degrees is because much closer I'd end up with a couple of goiters. You don't want that. You want to get this thing about as perfect as you could get. You're going to have some flaws, but hey, you know, you want to get it as best as you can. And in a little bit, I'm going to be twisting that thing up. But I want to show you something here. This right here represents extreme density orgonite. Now by itself, it doesn't really do much. Okay, it has to be activated by something. There's a lot of iron oxide in here, resin, sand, a little wheat flour, you know, for an orgonite, or for you know, for a base, make it easier to the touch. But then these things right over here, a lot of sand, not near as much metal, and I think there's powdered aluminum in here, and that doesn't give much either. But you know, it's interesting when you do this. Well, then you can feel a little bit more. All right, what happens is this kind of operates all by itself, and it feeds this to work. This needs stimulation. This needs to be stimulated in order to work. By itself, it doesn't do much. Putting them like this, that even does a little bit more. 2 of these together. Now that's pretty flat. Doesn't do a lot. It's when you combine the 2 of them, that right there is much more so. I could feel that. For a little piece, I could feel that. But what we're going to do with these möbius coils is we're going to essentially stimulate this to work by putting a coil on the inside. All right, and we're going to surround it by this type of material, this medium density orgonite. The medium density orgonite should feed this, but we're going to get her going with a möbius coil. Well, this is a cable, it's going to turn into a coil. And that's how we're going to start. That's the theory. That's what's going to make these field generators. Okay, we're going to start off with the coil. I have this 4-inch PVC adapter. It's a little bit bigger than 4 inches. It's more like 5 inches, which is what we need because we need to fit a 4-inch PVC pipe in there. And what I'm doing is sizing this up so that it's a proper fit. And I think something like that might work. Once we get to the proper point here, let me see. Geez, I'm almost out of tape. Come on, I know you're in there. Okay. Now we got this discoid, okay? And starting from left to right, my left, we're gonna find the end. And what we're looking for is a 3-point twist, okay? 1, 2, 3. We're gonna have 3 knots in here basically. And we go over this way, and the wire end here. Let's develop our turn. Now we're dealing with about 20 feet of cable here. I can't imagine why anybody would want to twist up 600 feet of this stuff. It'd be an impossibility. You'd never get around to it. You'd never get through it. You'd make yourself crazy doing it. 100 feet is enough. 600 feet, that's crazy. Okay. The start is important. You want to be fairly tight, consistent. And you're dealing with a lot of unwieldy wire. Then we come right back around to the beginning again. Okay. As you can see, we're starting out on a weave here. We're just going to have it follow each other around and around and around and around until you run out. It's going to end up like a tight little donut, an emaciated bagel, okay? And that's going to be your coil. You got to keep checking as you go, make sure you're tight, make sure it's following, make sure it follows the lead, and I'll let you know when I get back to this. Okay, we're almost done. You can see it's turning into a tight little donut here. And all it is just going round and round. Following itself. Kind of reminds you of a snake eating its own tail. What happens? Well, in this case, it turns into a möbius coil. Try not to get any kinks in it. Kinks are bad. You want this energy to flow. want as many round turns as you could possibly have, wrapping around itself, creating a chaos field. That's what you're looking for. You know, out of chaos comes order. There you have it. Möbius coil. Fits down nice around that. That's what we're looking for. You have to make it a little bit bigger when you start. That's your Möbius coil. Now what you do is you tape it off here just to secure it. These leads are going to go to the frequency generator or whatever. This we're going to start off with its own mold. Okay, so the sticks didn't work. Hey, what could I say? You know, you got to try everything. But I found some of these things. See them? I have no idea what they are, but I have a whole bunch of them. They're fitting nice and neatly underneath this thing. I just want to raise it up so it doesn't sit on the very bottom. Okay? That's all these little things are for. I thought about putting some crystals in, but we'll see what we can do. See what we can come up with. All right, next step, mix up some resin, and take it from there. Okay, here's the first pour. Resin consists of, there's about 1 quart in there, believe it or not. That 1 quart of resin and 6 heaping teaspoons powdered aluminum, a couple of big pinches of key dust, naturally catalyst, and a couple of handfuls of play sand. Play sand is basically crushed up quartz. It'll do nicely in here, and this is almost the same formula that I used in the inner core for the Jupiter 2. And we'll wait for this to set, and we'll see how it comes out. Okay, this thing just came out of the mold. Came out of the mold rather easy. And as you can see, the Vaseline did its job. Released it just nice. Now look at this. There, 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 there. Those are those little knobs that I put in there to elevate the coil, which means that the coil is sitting right around here, right where we need it to be. What I'll end up doing is putting some more in here, just in the bottom part, just so I can make this dome part to fit right over the top of this, give it a rounded look. Okay, and that's the next phase. And just for good measure, I found some of these laying around. Okay, now what are they going to do? Who the hell knows? But they're crystals, and they'll work with this stuff. And whether they get overloaded or not, who could say? All I know is that it couldn't hurt. And it is going to be the bottom cap of this. This is going to sit inside the unit. So we'll just take it from there and see what happens. See if it produces anything better than before. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, not bad. I just wanted to put a round edge on there. Okay, so it wouldn't be so flat. I'm going to shave these things off with that thing right there. File, sandpaper, some other odds and ends. And I'll have something a little bit more shaped like this. Okay. You know, just one more thing to make it as even and as smooth as possible. We just want this to, like that, like this. We want it rounded all over. Basically bagel shaped. Okay, I cleaned up this ring a little bit. You can see what it looks like. Still have an edge on here that I want to get rid of. A few voids in there. Nothing to jump up and down about. Okay, but it's a nice donut shape. Okay, and before I go any further, I just wanted to do some tests on this. So I have it hooked up to the zapper here. Okay, and basically to see if everything's working. If it's not working, well, this is going to go in the scrap heap. No other use for it. If it does work, well, then we'll proceed. We'll go ahead. But I want to do a few tests here and see how this works. I just put this thing on 15 hertz. Let's see what's going on. Okay, there it is. This thing is putting out some nice energy. Nice. Not too strong, but it's putting it out. Okay, to the touch. It's cool. Doesn't feel like much. Once you get around here, yeah, you can feel, you can feel that energy. It's coming out nice. Okay, but let's do one more test before we proceed. I'm gonna take this thing. Yeah. Damn, it's bigger than I thought. Okay, I'm setting it in water. The water is going to act as an organic layer. All right, as orgonite without the orgonite in it. It's completely neutral. It's as if I was using nothing but resin. But I just want to see if there's any difference. There it is. Takes a little while. There it is. There it is. And right here is where the energy seems to be emanating from. Let's see. I could still feel that energy coming out from around here. Let's see. No, it's not just the one hand. It's stronger. Seems to be stronger the farther up you go. The outward emanations aren't as much, but right in here, right in the vortex, that seems to be where it's concentrated the most. Okay, this is good for the next test. The next test, we're going to find a mold. We're going to put this in a medium density orgonite, not too much orgonite, but just enough to keep this thing going. And it's going to be intuition based. We're going to be doing that next. Okay, the next step is to put this into something like that. Now remember this little setup here where we did that sort of thing. Okay, well eventually what we're going to end up with is going to be something more like that. Okay, take a close look at that. Here's the center part. All right, here's the extra high density. Here's the medium density. Well, we're going to build something like that, except it's going to be a little inside out. We're going to use this bucket to do it. Okay, I don't know if you can see it. Way down there in the bottom, there's a little pump. all these buckets. Here it is, you see it? It shows the center. What we're going to do is use this PVC pipe and set it right in the center, just like that. And we could get it in the center just by looking down inside there. I don't know, can you see that? See where the center is? And that's basically what we're going to do. This time we're going to, instead of using hot glue, which I've traditionally used, I think I'm going to get away with Vaseline. And the reason for that is I'm only going to put about an inch in the bottom of this. There's not going to be enough pressure to push through that. And so I'm just going to use enough Vaseline to hold it in there. I'm going to put about an inch medium density in there. Let it set up. Then I'm going to put that in top of it. This fits really nice. Just like that. It gives me about an inch all the way around. A little bit better than an inch. Alright, so I want an inch on the bottom, inch on the top. Alright, and inch around the sides. I don't want any more than that. If I need more, I can put more on later. And as far as these buckets go, this is great. You just go to the supermarket. Alright, you know they have tons of these things. Go to any supermarket, you get these buckets for next to nothing. This one cost me $1.75. Okay, we're all set up. We did the first pour. By my estimations, we put about maybe that much in there. About that much in there. And I think that's going to be good enough. I lined the bottom with aluminum chips. And made a mixture of resin, catalyst, just a little bit of aluminum, powdered aluminum. Filled, but that was about 3/4 of a quart, and filled the rest up with sand. So there's a lot of sand in there, a lot of quartz sand. Place sand I found is ground up pretty good. And that's going to give us a good orgonite base. And if you could see inside there, no leakage at all. Vaseline, I gotta tell you, stuff works great. I wouldn't use it if there's a lot of pressure behind there, because the pressure is just going to, push the Vaseline out of the way. But for something small like this, Vaseline is great, and it's pretty much non-toxic. I also put some along the sides. Alright, it needs it the most on this thing, because when this thing cures, it compresses, and it'll compress right around that thing and make it nice and tight. All around the outside of this, it'll give way. This particular resin has a high shrink rate, which is good. Compresses the crystals better. Okay, but that high shrink rate is going to wrap itself right around this if you don't have enough release agent on there. The best release agent I could think of, best release agent I found, is Vaseline. Put that stuff on thick enough and it's not going to get past. And just as you can see in there, nothing's getting through. Alright, we'll let this set, and then we'll be ready for our coil. Okay, I just made the last pour, at least the last pour for this thing. No leaks on the inside. I don't know, can you see that? Nope, no leaks on the inside. A lot of place sand, a lot of crushed up quartz sand. A little bit of powdered aluminum, resin, about maybe less than a teaspoon per quart of powdered aluminum. I'd say almost as much sand as resin. That's a real thick mixture in there, real thick slurry. There's some key dust in there as well, close to the coil. Coil's embedded in all that. Okay, now just to give it a little bit more while it's sitting here curing, I hooked up an amp to it. All right, going to this for the power. That also powers the MP3 player. And it's the MP3 player that's plugged into this. And those wires come out and go to this. Okay, you notice that I have them set at the right and left negatives. Safety precaution, I don't want to blow this amp. I would surely do that if I hooked it up to either the left or the right. But hooking it up to the two negatives, I'm still going to get something out of here. It's something that's present in the studio. It's a mid-range speaker. It has the qualities of left and right, but it's not going to blow the system. Right now, yeah, I can feel a nice buzz coming out of that. Real nice. Yeah, this is putting out some nice energy. I'm going to let this go. Probably let it go for the rest of the night. So far so good. Everything's hooked up. It's plugged into that, and we'll see how this goes. I'll let it sit here till tomorrow morning, and probably continue this programming for the next 3 days. See what happens then. Okay, this is just a rough finish. I didn't do the edges on this thing. I'll show you how this is built. Copper tube goes all the way down to the bottom, just about. It terminates about right there. 2 SBB coils pointed up that way. This part, rich amount of powdered aluminum resin. I believe there's a little key dust in there. Some sand. All right. This is a real dense orgonite mixture, primarily aluminum. As far as this base goes, let me show you how that is. Let me show you how that's put together. Okay. As you can see, what we have here is reasonably finished product. You can see here and a few other places where I had voids, as well as on the inside. And that was taken care of auto body filler. On the inside, the auto body filler mixed with iron oxide and a few other things to give it more of a metal. On the outside, it was just auto body filler. Then I top coated the whole thing with shellac, smoothed all the sides, all the edges, top and bottom, and I could use a couple more coats of shellac, but for now, I want to get this thing over with. I spent far too long on it. I have it hooked up to a zapper. I primarily used the zapper for testing purposes. All right, preferring to use a field generator or a frequency generator or MP3 player, but this has its uses. Now, firing it up takes a little while, but there it is. There it is. It takes a little while to load up, but even for a unit without something on this, in the inside, this thing is putting out a nice amount of juice. Okay, but what we need is something for it to react with. And inside there, you can't see it, I have an insulated Herkimer diamond, double terminated. And the energy feels nice, but right over there, that's the business end. That's what's going on. Nice aiming device. You could kind of feel the energy going up. You could feel it out around here, but right there is dramatic. Okay, and so far that's pretty much what we have. That's what I'm sticking with for the time being. This just needs to be cleaned up, get rid of some of the round edges, maybe put a top coat on it, some kind of organic sealant. But the next step is working with tensor rings. I've been looking into this, and I got to tell you, put it on the CB over there, and all I could say is that it really ramped up the energy flow. Maybe something like that, but I'm thinking more of an order of that. Once I get that done, I'll let you know. And that's pretty much it. All we need to do is do some testing, see if it works. Hook up a long stack to it. All I can say is when you're doing this sort of thing, try everything. Try everything, and keep what works and toss out what doesn't.